Between the time when the oceans drank Atlantis and the rise of the sons of Arius, there was an age undreamed of. And unto this, Conan, destined to bear the jeweled crown of Aquilonia upon a troubled brow. It is I, his chronicler, who alone can tell thee of his saga. Let me tell you of the days of high adventure.
I can't compete with the Conan introducer.
All I got to say about that intro is if you don't want to slay somebody with a sword after listening to that, there's something wrong with you.
It's epic. Like
they love it.
It's one of the smart things they did between the first and the second movie was they brought back the introduction and the kind of like epilogue at the end.
Yeah, I mean that's probably that. It's all downhill from here, guys. That was the peak of this episode.
If that were like the credits for a Marvel movie, and you had the credits rolling, you have Conan just sitting there with very many weapons, servants coming, feeding him grapes here and there. Would you stay to the end of that trailer, not even knowing if there was extra material, just hearing that voiceover? And then he slayed many men across the desert oasis of Nasphia. Would you listen to that for 5 minutes? Just like, wow.
Yeah, of course I would.
And then you get to the bonus footage, and it's like
they don't,
goof takes.
Conan the Barbarian is already a great movie, but it's one of the I don't know where I'm looking for, but it's one of the things where the score actually even elevated it more.
Yeah, it was good.
It was so epic that it took it to a next level.
It's surprising because the first movie was kind of a small, like it was basically an indie fare at the by our standards today, right?
Yeah.
Schwarzenegger obviously was a unknown.
Well, yeah. I mean, as far as an actor, I guess if you because he did like that Pumping Iron whatever movie, so maybe,
he'd already done that.
Yeah.
That's
he was
movie.
Still competing in weightlifting back then.
Oh, okay.
So, but this was his first. This was his breakout role. Yeah, I think he'd been in like a couple other movies, but he was like either they were shitty or he was
I think he was in that Hercules movie.
Yeah,
before
Hercules
this one.
in New York. Yeah,
that is interesting movie.
Yeah,
I saw
they
that.
dub him.
Oh, like in this movie,
Hercules.
I feel like it works fine. We were actually talking about this earlier because he's reading scripture in the first movie. He's reading scripture.
Well, he's not reading scripture because the Bible wasn't.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just thought the scrolls. Excuse me,
yes,
scrolls. He's like waiting for this lady to present herself, and he's reading scrolls by a fireside with little reader glasses on, and it's like, okay, slow down. We know you don't read. You could barely even say, I want some food in English. Like,
I think those were the original transcriptions of the Gore novels. That's how you learned how to treat a woman.
I like your segue into Gore here because you've been talking Gore nonstop, buddy.
I hit the treasure trove this weekend. I was at Second and Charles, the secondhand store place near my house, and some fool gave up their Gore novels. I got them for $1 a piece, Griff. I get this stack of Gore novels. I can't wait to just like
just bend those binders. Man, just break them over your knee.
Why were they reading Gore novels in Stranger Things? Come on, that's like nostalgia.
Exactly. That fits right in with the D&D crowd, and those kids were into that.
Exactly.
Come on.
That kid with no teeth, I could totally see him being into
sword, staff, thongs, and bongs. I don't know. But yeah, second. God damn, that's. I'm glad you found those.
Yeah, one man's trash, another man's treasure.
That's absolutely true. The point I was trying to get to, I completely forgot. I brain farted so hard just now.
Well, I'm glad you're out of it because I got something First of all, it's hot as fuck right now. Why? And I'm trying to think. Why aren't we doing this from our Laserdisc temperature control Laserdisc vault?
Our body heat will throw off the climate.
Okay.
You gotta keep them in peak.
That could happen. Yeah. You get little like laser disc rod on it.
In order to get the laser disc vault built, I had to agree to standards. I know
you make me wear gloves every time I go down there to take them out.
Yeah, we are honor bound every time we enter there. If we don't honor that, we die on the spot.
Wow, it's almost like Treasure of the Four Crowns. Almost,
it really, it's right there, man. It's right there.
But not only am I this is going to be a very irritable episode. Because one, I don't like Conan the Destroyer because this is one of our what the fuck episodes. We talk about not everyone's a winner. Sometimes we got to talk about some stinkers. But not only am I irritated about that, I'm irritated about the heat, and I'm also irritated, Griff, that I think I lost our fortune. You know how we've been making tons of money hand over fist with our hair care products. And
Did you lose it all in those gore books?
No, I invested it. I thought this was going to be the next big Bitcoin thing.
Oh, no.
Have you heard about this? It's called Gamer Girl Bathwater. Have you heard about that? I'm not making this up. This is the thing.
No, I frequent Twitch very often. Okay. I've heard a lot about this.
I thought it was a no-brainer, dude. Like,
it's
you get like the white girls that like to dress up like Asian cartoon characters.
Usually cats.
And
they do a lot of cat features.
But here's the catch. This is where they get you, Griff.
Cat.
Yeah, no pun intended.
There's a stretch.
I got it, all right. And I'm about quality control because I want to make sure the people we're going to sell this to don't get ripped off. So I sent it. I sent one of the jars to a lab. There's no, I don't know what the word juice. I don't know. There's nothing. It's just water. It's tap water.
Well,
Griff. There's no gamer girl juice.
We have plenty of dead skin that sheds from our body.
No, it's not. It's just tap water.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like they would be able to detect skin cells and all that kind of shit.
There.
Nothing.
So we're broke again.
We're broke again because you invested.
We have tons of water, so we can stay hydrated during this.
I guess we could go back to doing tours of the Laserdisc vault. But my God, the precautions we have to put people through. I'm not going back.
I don't want this. That time that kid died, and we had to pay out.
Well, I told you about the honor bound system. He didn't bind to the honor, so we fucking died on the spot. He tried to reach for my Laserdisc of Lionheart and just died. Fine with that.
He rapidly aged like the end of that Indiana Jones movie.
Yes.
We had to pick the Holy Grail.
Or like Captain America 2. We got hit with that fucking cream, as I called it.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Liquid cream. Yeah.
By the way, apologies for those 2 episodes, Captain America 2 and Death Ring, that came out.
Why? They were great.
Oh, they were amazing. But in Death Ring, we made so many references to every other movie. That whole episode was like half Death Ring, half us making references to our own episodes and cackling.
That was our fan appreciation episode, which we're going to be talking about at the end of the episode. This episode.
Yeah.
Because this is why it pays to listen to every episode.
Okay, we're running along here. I've got a few questions here I want to ask you because obviously.
And anybody wants some half off Gamer Girl juice, water, bath water?
Juice water.
Look me up on Twitter.
2% real Gamer Girl
I'll
juice.
I'll put something in it. If you want
water.
Something in it, I'll figure out.
Oh, okay. So Murray, if
I washed a cat, like a real cat in it, would that count halfway?
No.
Oh, okay. Do they dress as dogs?
Stop with the Gamer Girl water, man. I'm so sick of this water business. You lost all of our money in it. I don't want to talk about it on the air.
Okay, sorry.
All right? Save it for off-air. For the first time, we're saving something for off-air. So, obviously, we got to put you in the hot seat. But not the hot seat.
Yeah, I'm in the hot seat right now.
It's hot. It's hot in my house. Yeah, I don't have air conditioning. No, we're going to put you in the old nice psychiatric throne, comfort zone. We're going to give you a couple chocolates here. We're going to make you real comfortable for these questions. Okay. First thing I want to know, there is some great unknown side characters in the first Conan movie. How did you feel about there's like 9 side characters that assist Conan. How did you feel about them? This is supposed to be in the perspective of you as a child because you saw this in a theater as a youthling.
Okay, wait. I have to... Yeah, I did not. Full disclosure, I did not see Conan the Barbarian in the theaters. I did see it like on HBO. Or whatever.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought you saw it as a child.
No, my mom wouldn't take me to that. I would have been like 7 when that. I don't think
your mom's not an Arnold fan. That's right.
Yeah, She's a snob. She wouldn't have saw it. And then when Arnold Schwarzenegger became a star, she's like, "Oh, I'll take you to Conan the Destroyer." Thanks, Mom.
Well, that's what this is about. I'm sorry.
So I saw Conan the Destroyer, and I was utterly disappointed. But if we're talking about the sidekicks, all right. Of course, you dig Akira, the wizard. He was from the first movie.
Yes, he was awesome in both movies.
I thought Grace Jones was good.
Great. Yeah, I thought she was very fitting.
Wilt was okay. I could take or leave Wilt. He wasn't bad, but
best part about Wilt was that fucking mace he had, like that.
You know, if you're like into comics, they totally made him look like Hogan the Grim from Thor, the Warriors 3, but except the guy's Asian in the Thor movie. But he had the total outfit just like him, and he had that mace.
Oh, with like the bird beak on it?
I don't think Hogan has that. I think he just has like a club.
That's what I loved about this, because I've seen it's Morningstar, maybe what they call him. It's a mace. Morningstar has the flail on it, I think. But it had like that bird beak on it, and I fucking loved it. It looked gnarly as all hell.
Now, the guy that I guess you're supposed to love because he's a comic relief, Malik, I fucking hate that guy.
Which is every character in a Marvel movie today.
I guess. I don't know. He was awful. I
was.
Hated him from jump, right from the get-go. I was like, when is he going to die?
You didn't even like it when he did the knife part?
I don't even remember what knife part.
He pulls out two little knives and stabs some guy.
No, fuck him.
I guess there's no other ones besides the princess, and she was
Princess Jenna Jameson.
Yeah, she's kind of more of a guest than a side character. So let's see. Now, obviously, the first scene in Destroyer was pretty gruesome. Like,
was it?
Yeah, a guy's head gets cut off
in that scene.
I thought
it was in the one where they find Akira. That's that bad thing happens there too.
Yeah, no, there is a head cutting off in that scene too, but the first scene is pretty violent. Was it the first scene that threw you off, or did you see trailers or something that threw you off?
I couldn't. If I did see a trailer, I don't remember.
Okay, so do you think you were still buying into this movie after the first scene when Conan is just ripping people apart?
Maybe. The fucking comic relief character, I was like, ugh, I don't know.
You've been drinking too much bathwater. It's clogging your memory.
Here's the thing. This is why what separates why this movie stinks and the first one's great. Because of director John Milius. He's the reason the first movie is so good, because he is the master of war porn. By war porn, I mean he can show you violent shit that gets your dick hard. Like, you're like, holy fuck. Even the most pacifistic guy is like, I can't wait to see somebody murdered again. Like, he's the man. He wrote Apocalypse Now. He wrote and directed Red Dawn.
It's a good movie, too.
He wrote Conan the Barbarian. And so he was not available for this movie, and that's why I think it's very much lacking. We also have to point out that Dino De Laurentiis, who produced the first movie, at the first movie they didn't care about it, so they let them do their own thing, and that's why it's so great, because that's the way everything should be. You should let artistic people do their thing.
Artistic things, yeah. It should be less about the money and more about the art.
Yeah, telling the story.
Yeah.
And this one, they were like, hey, we made a lot of money, but you know what? You hear this? There's this movie called E.T. that just came out.
E.T.
Family friendly is where it's at, people. We're going to do a family-friendly Conan movie. And I want to point out, Schwarzenegger from Jump's like, no, that's a stupid idea. We need to keep it the way it was in the old one. And they're like, no, don't. He's like, who the fuck are you? Shut up and act. We know what we're doing. We're going to do it, a kid's movie. So basically what happened was the first movie was basically Robert E. Howard, the guy who wrote the books, his interpretation of Conan. Second movie was basically the Marvel comic version of Conan. And it makes sense because they hired Jerry Conway and Roy Thomas, who wrote Conan comic book, to write the story for this one.
Well, they were offended by it.
Well, they were offended because it got changed by the screenwriter. They wrote the story.
Okay.
And then the screenwriter said, fuck it.
Because I know they made a graphic novel where they just switched the names out to make this better.
Right. But Yeah, but what I'm saying is they tried to make a comic book movie instead of like a pulp action movie like Conan originally was intended to be.
Yeah.
And that's why it sucks.
Well, we have ruined 15 minutes of our guest time already by
guest?
blabbering on. Huh?
What guests do we have?
By guest, I mean our audience. Excuse me. So, Murray, I think you should... I mean, we got a special treat for people this week. We're not just going to do the trailer, because obviously this trailer tormented you. This whole movie did.
So much so that I don't even remember it.
Yeah.
Yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to show you what Conan could have been.
Yes.
By showing you... We didn't do this. We're just giving a shout-out to this guy, very talented guy.
It's clearly, like, what set the pathway for that musical Hamilton.
I think you got a good point.
Yeah.
I think it did. I think Hamilton wouldn't exist without this.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this YouTube guy, it's on YouTube. He did a great video, cut scenes from the movie in. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of you have already even seen it, but if not, you're going to want to check out Conan the Musical. Let's hear a little bit of this.
Another day, walking in circles, haunted by memories. I push on this wheel. I pray to Klam, grant me revenge, and help me to answer the riddle of steel. A shy little boy, I couldn't protect them. Helpless and timid, as weak as a girl. They butchered my people, the dogs ate my father. My mother beheaded, they took my whole world. Klam, where is the wizard who killed my mother? Still, I can recall his terrible gaze. Klam, where are the two snakes facing each other? Klam, if you're my god, then show me the way. I'm on the path, chopping up bodies, hacking and slicing, and look at me now. With loyal friends joining my party, each step I take, I'm fulfilling my vow. Crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentation of the women. Hear the lamentation of the women. Crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentation of the women. Hear the lamentation of the women. Klam, show me the wizard who killed my mother. True, I've never prayed to you before. Still, what would I give if you could help me see this through? And if you do not listen, then the hell with you. Klam, where are the two snakes facing each other? Klam, if you're my god, then show me the way. I swear this wizard will fall, 'cause this has begun. They murdered them all. I'm the last one, I issued the call. Revenge for my mom, I pray to you, God. Crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentation of the women.
All right. So I forgot that fucking musical didn't just blow our mind balls. It also gave us a full synopsis of the first movie, which I, of course, had the pleasure of watching at your discretion a week ago. That first movie is so good.
Yeah, now you understand how I felt seeing Conan the Destroyer.
You really, like, I feel like now I should have done 2 and then 1, just so I had the opposite effect of experience rather. But, I did 1 and then 2, and I gotta say, I kind of get where you're coming from. Like, the first movie, blood, guts, tits, dicks.
That's what you want to see. Everyone's going on about how Game of Thrones changed the whole fantasy shit.
No.
It's like, no, it started with Conan the Barbarian.
It did. Like, the gruesomeness and, like, the reality of the situation where it's like, no, it's not just people sitting around drinking wine and, you know,
fucking their sisters and all that shit.
It's insanity. Like, it was a very different version of civilization. It's amazing.
And I just want to point out, like, I dig sword and sorcerer type shit.
Sword and staffs.
Sword and staffs.
Wizard. Well, sorcery, staffs.
I don't know. I never heard that before. But
I think you might be right.
What comes down to, and this is what comes down to this movie, is people, when they think of this genre, it's like fairy tale. We got to make it like kiddie shit.
Yeah.
Even though the original Grimm fairy tales are fucking dark and bloody as fuck.
Yeah.
And I hate that because I don't give a fuck about. It's always some story about some fucking little kid. He's gonna be the king. Like, fuck that shit. I want blood, tits, carnage.
Why did Game of Thrones get so big? Because the first season, it's just like, boom, everything's fucked. All these kids who thought, the life of privilege was in front of them. Nope.
Yeah, and people are fucking and getting killed.
And that too.
And we need more of that. We need more adult fantasy and less of this fucking Harry Potter shit.
Let me put the brakes on that. We're going to put this into PG land right off the bat. 80s PG land, so it's still a little... today's standard, which PG is basically like a Pixar movie, where there's some adult humor, like...
Somebody farts or some shit. It's a PG.
They hide adult humor in there and stuff. Like, I think the best Pixar movie and the biggest joke on the audiences is WALL-E, because they're just like, hey, you suburban fat fucks, keep getting fat. The whole movie is about how we suck. And I love it.
Okay.
That's deep. That's deep shit from a Pixar movie. It's PG.
Was it PG? It wasn't G?
It might have been
Is
G.
any movie G anymore?
I don't know. It might have been G.
Is there anything people can handle that it could be general audience? I don't know.
It had some edgy jokes in there, man. That's all I'm saying.
Edgy.
I mean, WALL-E said WALL-E, so...
Speaking of edginess, here's the opposite. Conan the Destroyer.
Praying at an altar.
We start out... I thought it was a park bench for a minute.
I thought it was, too.
But it turns out this is the altar where Valeria, his love of the last movie... Did I ever tell you, I think I met the woman who played Valeria, and I think I could have fucked her? Did I ever tell you that? That's what happened. This is a true story. I'm not making this up. Okay, it was at Comic-Con. And she was there. And I fucking love this movie. So I'm like, I want to talk to this chick. So I get up there. I get in line. And I get up there. And the first thing she does is comments on my muscles. I'm not joking. She's like, oh, wow, I got some muscles on you. I was like, okay. Tee-hee. A little, bashful about it.
Sure.
And aside from that, she was really cool. She's a really cool person. If you ever see her at a Comic-Con, talk her up. She's real friendly. We'll talk to you. You might fuck her. I mean, of course, she was like a little long in the tooth at this time. She's probably in her 50s. But nobody needs to know that I fucked her when she was in her 50s.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen.
You forgot to mention the part that really led you on is when she said, hey, my Corvette's waiting out front. Hop in.
My Corvette?
Hop in and drive me over to my hotel room.
She did say, get out of my dreams into my car.
Yeah.
And I just thought she was a Billy Ocean
Because
fan.
that I could understand as like, is she coming on to me?
Guys, if you're noticing, we're trying to talk about anything but this movie.
Yeah,
because this movie stinks. But we're going to talk about it anyway, because there's somebody out there who likes this movie. I don't know why, but we're going to talk about it. And we're going to start out.
Conan taking the knee.
Conan got the memorial bench in honor of Valeria.
He is either besmirching America or he's trying to honor his late lady.
Well, yes.
He's going Kaepernick on this shit.
Kaepernick probably got it from this movie, too. I was like, that looks kind of disrespectful, but not.
Yeah.
I could see someone getting upset by that. I'm going to do that.
This is definitely not covered under 1A.
And then we see his buddy Malik like picking his nose, fucking comic relief douche that he is. And so he's praying to Crom. He's like, I'm going to bring Valeria back. I would do anything for her. She's the love of my life.
Ugh.
Meanwhile, while that's going on, we see all these soldiers in their black armor. There's something wrong. They're wearing black armor.
Surrounding this.
Because they're like out in the desert in this like were like in a canyon or some shit.
Yeah, it was just kind of like a small clearing, but it had this circle of just like large vertical rocks.
Yeah, like rock formations.
Yeah, it was a really cool set. And so all these black riders start forming around it, and you're like, oh shit, what's about to happen?
And we see like Wilt Bambata, Bambaklata, and we see a masked person next to him, and he's like pointing like, all right, attack. And he's like, he gives, because Bambata is like the head of the army, and he gives a nod, and they all just fucking gang rush Conan.
All one, maybe two at a time, because they're 45
I want to
deep.
point out though, I feel bad for these guys because obviously this is all about testing Conan to see if he's the real deal, and they can't kill him because the queen wants to work with Conan, so they get murdered.
Was it testing? I thought they were just trying, because
this was a test to see how.
This was not a test.
Yes, it was.
They were trying to catch him. That's why they had the nets.
No. This was because Conan's got a rep at this point. He's a king of the thieves.
Sure.
So the whole thing is to see how much of a badass he is. Because what are you going to do? You're going to capture him? Why? And then offer him a job?
I thought they understood his badassness. I think
they might have been under the impression that they were like just to capture him. But the queen, no, she was testing him
out. Yeah. You know what? That's the kind of shit the 1% would pull. So we'll go with that.
Either way, they get slaughtered.
Absolutely. And there's blood flying everywhere for a PG movie. Like, I was kind of surprised. This is why in the opening I asked you the question, like, did this scene lead you afraid? Because it's pretty violent. Maybe. But the net fighting, no.
You want to elaborate on that?
On what? The net fighting?
Well, you just go net fighting. What does that mean?
Well, all the riders are coming in with nets. They're coming in two at a time, and Conan's just like, well,
they're supposed to capture.
I've got this sharp sword. So he cuts through them and shit. Yeah,
that's what you do when you have a sword.
I mean, he even calls out to what's his name? Malik. He calls out to Malik. They're not trying to kill us. They're trying to capture us. And Malik's like, oh, I'm still going to swallow all of my finest treasures. Why is his voice that weird?
I don't know.
So he's swallowing his treasures. I wanted a scene of him shitting out some treasure.
You figure, why didn't you shove them up your ass? And it would be a lot easier. You know, it wouldn't go through your system. Won't get lodged in your intestines.
So he's just like, oh, they're trying to capture us. So sure enough, they keep coming at him with the nets, and finally the queen is just like, enough.
The masked figure, we don't know what it is.
Okay, good
And then
call.
she takes off the helmet, and it's a woman. You're like, what?
Yeah.
And then she's like, hey, I got an offer for you. I'm a witch. And she does this little. She does a fucking revenge ninja power number 12, where it's hallucinations. Hypnosis. And she like waves her hands, and she's like, look at that park bench over there. And he looks, and he sees his love Valeria on fire, her body lying there.
Yeah, what were you praying for there, Conan? And he's like, I will not tell you. And she's just like, were you praying? Close your eye, touch the temple for your loved one. He's like, how did you know? He's like, look again. And yeah, what's her name? Valeria is there on the bench on fire.
Yeah, like because she was burned, like he burned her body in the first movie.
Oh.
And he's like, Crom. He says that a lot in the movie. And he's like hypnotized by it. And she's like, I have a job for you. And if you do it, I can bring her back to life. 'Cause I want to resurrect the dream god Dagoth.
Yeah.
And with Dagoth, we can do anything.
She shows him the power of her magic. She saws Wilt Chamberlain in half. She does the floating dick trick where it's like the
I've never
thing.
Seen the floating
the
dick
amazing
trick.
Jonathan did it. It was great. It's a great trick. I mean, she what's your card?
She pulls jewels out of that guy's ass.
She's doing it all. And so Conan is just like, this is obviously the work of the gods. So, yeah, I'll go with you.
And he does. So they go to, I think Shadazar was the name of...
Shadazar?
I think that was the name of the city.
That's the beginning of the name, huh?
Shadazar.
Okay, so it's just a sly shit reference.
Yes. And we get a call back to Conan the Barbarian because as they're riding in, the guy, for some reason, he wasn't even with Conan at the time. He's like, hey, remember that camel?
Yeah, I hated that reference. I hated it. Like, I like this little bit they do here, but I hated that Malik, like, pointed it out.
Because in the first movie, Conan gets drunk and he punches a camel and it knocks it out. So that's the same camel. And camels, like elephants, you never forget.
They never forget.
And he's like, what the fuck was he chewing? I was like, he had the nastiest spit. It was like, come on, it's like bird shit on his mouth. I don't know what it was.
It was bird shit.
And he just spits a big fucking Ron Jeremy load all on the Conan's chest. And Conan's like, because first he felt bad about it. He's like, I was drunk, you know.
It was a very humbling moment for.
He's like, I've grown as a human being.
The ultimate warrior of the times, and he's just like, hey man, I'm really sorry. This is like a PETA moment almost. He's just like, I'm really sorry. I stopped eating meat for a year after I did that. I felt bad.
This is faux fur loincloth I have on.
Yeah. And
this is pleather.
The camel's got
having none of it. He's like, motherfucker, you knocked one of my teeth out. So he spits that bird shit on the guy all over Conan's chest.
In his mouth. Oh.
And Conan's like, fuck this. Right again. Everything, all that PETA shit went out the window, and he punches the fucking camel again. Knocks it
was like a Three Stooges bit. He clonked it on the head, axes going over his eyes, and he...
Cuckoo. The
the
birds
weird...
flying around the head.
Oh,
it was
so
great.
Good. It was so good. See, how did you hate this?
I like that part.
Okay.
But it gets worse. So we go to the castle. I want to point out one thing I will point out about this movie. Much like the first one, I thought the set designs were great.
Oh, they're amazing. I was constantly like, is that real marble?
Yeah, and this is all real shit. This wasn't CGI.
Yeah.
I mean, they use miniatures, obviously, for like the city when they show the city.
Yeah, I forget what they call that filming style, but this is not where you go for wordage and terms for filming style.
Yeah, we're not filmmakers. We're film critics.
Yeah.
But great costumes on people.
Yeah.
And so we go into the throne room, and she's got a different costume. She's sexy now. And there's this statue of this, like, kind of like the statue of David, but he's chilling on a bench.
Yeah, he's very relaxed.
And that's the dream god Dagoth.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, here's the deal. I'll resurrect Valeria, but you have to do this for me. My niece, Jenna, she was born with this mark on a special day, and only she can find the key that finds the horn that we place on the statue that will awaken Dagoth, and we'll live in 1,000 years of peace, and we'll have all this power and all this great shit.
Sure.
And so I need you to escort her, because you're the baddest motherfucker on the planet. Of course, you see Wilt in the background going, I thought I was the baddest motherfucker.
Everything is basically, well, you're great, but you're not that great.
Exactly. The shaming him. They put him in the Steve James role. Like, it's like, you're the sidekick. And he's like, I could be the star.
Dude, they put him further down than that.
Well, he's not as great as Steve James. Come on, we're not going to go crazy.
I'm not even trying to compare him to Steve James. I'm just saying they make him look like a bitch, like constantly shitting.
Well,
him.
yeah, we'll get to that later because the princess really fucking punks him out.
Yeah. But
so she's like, all right, so you need to find the heart of Aramar, which is the key, at the castle of Tofeman. And once you find that, because apparently, according to this prophecy, Jenna, like, she'll be drawn to it. So she'll know where to go. You just have to guard her.
It's like a woman's intuition. She'll just absolutely know where to go. And, we see that throughout the movie, so it works out pretty well.
Get that fucking horn. He's like, I got it. I'm on it. He walks out. As soon as he walks out, she goes up to Bombata, and she's like, make sure he don't fuck her, because we need a virgin sacrifice.
What?
Exactly. Grove.
That's how quickly they spill their evil plan?
Yes. And then fucking Bombata twirls his mustache a little. I'm on it. Because first of all, he's got the most important role of all, because we know Conan fucks anything that moves, and everything wants to fuck Conan. So he's got to be the cock blocker on this mission.
He's not an aggressive.
Well, he doesn't have to be. He's got
exactly.
He's got the petroleum jelly. That's all he needs. A little dab.
Exactly. I mean, we see Queen Jenna having Princess Jenna having like a terrible night scare, and they all come to her aid, and they're just like, "Don't worry."
Half of her lines are just "Bombata."
Yeah,
Bombata!
they really are. And they're just like, you're going on your mission tomorrow.
And this is how
No
fucking
big deal.
cold Bombada is. Like, it looked like he really had feelings. Like, he raised her from a little kid.
Yeah.
And then he's like, yeah, I'm down with killing her.
You know, they did a good job of that, where it was like he did have like her personal interests, and also he wants to be a fucker. I thought that was
maybe
kind of good.
he thinks this is. He's like, he realizes he's in the shadows. This is my move. If
Yeah.
I do this mission, then I'll finally get that promotion I've been wanting for so long.
Maybe.
So the journey begins, Griff. And it just so happens, as the first day, they stumble upon our man Akira. He just happens to be kidnapped by cannibals.
Well, yeah, I mean, Arnold points out, if I'm going to fight magicians, I'm going to get a magician. So he was seeking Akira, and he tells the princess, no, who's already telling Bombada, like, is he hot? Are you into him? Because I'm into him. Like,
I want to also point out that Olivia Dabo plays a princess is like 15 in this movie.
She looked young
And
as shit.
Schwarzenegger's like in his 30s at least. So it's already off to a weird
It's
kind
not
of
as bad as
start.
the Bond movies, at least, where like the actors were in their late 50s, 60s,
No.
and they're like, I'm fucking my daughter in these scenes.
I don't remember Bond talking like that.
Well, no, offset. But Roger Moore, Connery, like multiple Bonds have said, okay, stop it.
Okay.
And that's in a different time. That was pretty impressive. So
So she's
yeah,
like,
Akira,
she's like, yeah, you're right. About
you need to follow me. And he's like, no. If I'm leading this pact, we're doing it my way.
Or the highway.
Or the highway.
And just so happens, they stumble upon Akira being roasted by cannibals. All of a sudden, it goes through a weird place. All of a sudden, it's like a fucking Italian cannibal movie.
Yeah.
We get these people, it's like out of a Fulci zombie movie or a cannibal Holocaust movie. I'm waiting for them to like just kill an animal for no reason because every fucking Italian cannibal movie
That's
did
what I was
that.
expecting too.
And Conan's like, oh, no, I ain't having this shit. I need my wizard. So he just fucking bull rushes on his horse to him, chops the motherfucker's head off. Head goes
Yeah.
flying, and they kill all the
frame rate on
cannibals.
this movie was not good enough for me to get a good shot of the head because I was trying really hard. Couldn't get it. Couldn't get a clean shot.
Then he rescues because they got Akira like on the spit, like out of a cartoon. We're like turning him on the spit.
I'm glad you said cartoon. It was literally out of a cartoon. He was even cracking jokes like Porky Pig. Well, I say I was getting real hot. I don't remember what Porky Pig
No,
sounded.
Porky Pig just stuttered. You were doing Foghorn Leghorn.
Fuck, like terrible.
Yeah, it was terrible. And so they're like, oh, got our wizard. All right, let's move on. So they move on. That's why I like a very linear storyline. Very like video
really
game.
is. It's just like, hey, we're going to point B. Also, along the way, we hit this.
So then they come up to this little town. I'm going to call it Alabama because it's like a redneck town. They don't care for black people in this town, Griff.
Yeah.
And to point that out, we notice that Grace Jones, Zula, her character,
Grace Jones. At some point during this episode, I probably will say Grace Kelly. It's wrong. It's Grace Jones.
Dr. Jones.
Dr. Jones.
So she's tied, like her foot's tied, like chained up to like a stake in the ground. And she's-
Don't say chained. It's a rope.
Okay. What's wrong with saying chain?
It's hard to cut chain.
Okay. Well, Conan could do it.
Yeah, it's a good point.
And she's got her staff, though, 'cause that's her weapon is a staff. And they're like fucking with her, taunting her.
Yeah.
And Conan's like, well, first of all, chicks stick together. So Jenna's like, what the fuck's going on here? And like Conan's like, she's like, there's at least 6 people. And then Conan does this fucking tired ass dad joke. 1, 2, 3. I guess there is 6 people.
You're giving it that
Fuck
tone?
that. Fuck that joke.
I thought it was kind of hilarious.
How can something be kind of hilarious?
I had a soft chuckle at that when he was just
I
like
didn't know.
6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, princess, you count pretty well.
And they went like the count on Sesame
See,
Street.
you
No.
said it yourself. It's pretty fun.
No, it wasn't fun at all.
Fuck you.
And he's like, yeah, I don't give a shit. And she's like, no, you must free him. He's like, I don't give a shit. Bambata, free him. And Bambata says the right thing. We learn that she's not some innocent person. She was part of a raiding party that was probably going to rape and murder everybody in the city.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, it's not fair. The fight's not fair. Because Mabata's like, kill the bitch. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But Conan's like, at this point, everybody knows who Conan is. So everyone's in awe when he just rides up on his horse right up to her. Even Zula, Grace Jones, is in awe. She's like, oh, my God, is that Conan?
He stands out. He's got that beautiful lock of hair. He's got a very unique sword. But he's also got that sweet fucking REO Speedwagon tattoo all across his chest. So people just if you ever didn't recognize him when you see that REO Speedwagon tattoo,
I didn't
know
even
it.
notice that. What was it? Which album was it?
Couldn't even tell you, man. I don't keep track of REO.
But you knew it was an REO Speedwagon?
I had to look at the trivia.
Okay.
I'm spewing facts here. I don't know for myself.
And so Conan just goes, fuck it. I'm going to free her. So he just chops the rope. You're right, it was a rope. Yeah. And then he just takes off.
He's being very coy. He's like, all right, princess.
He's like swinging his dick. He's like, I can do whatever I want. I'm Conan.
Yeah. I mean, he does walk right into the middle of the fight. Everybody stops, and they're just like, oh, my God. Is that the REO Speedwagon tattoo?
Only Conan has an REO Speedwagon tattoo.
Cuts the rope, looks back at everybody, is like, E.
And then he jumps the shark.
And
he takes off, and Zula's like, now we have to show what she can do, because she's a new character. So she commences this fucking up the entire town with her staff. She's like breaking people's jaws, busting their nose.
Grace Jones trained really hard for this shit.
So hard that she hurt a couple stuntmen.
Yes, and she also, her and Wilt, which Wilt has like one fighting scene, they both were training for like hours a day for these scenes. I love it. Like, when people do their own stunts, awesome. Jason Statham, where you at, bud? With your 0 stunts.
Your CGI bullshit.
Well, I'm calling out like our action stars today.
Yeah.
I think they might do 2 stunts, if that.
I don't think they do any stunts.
And that stunt might be putting mustard on a hot dog, because fuck that business.
National Hot Dog Day.
Is it today?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I just randomly struck that one.
So Zula basically finishes the job and kills the entire city.
Oh, shit.
And then she gets on a horse. She pulls out. She's got this sweet ass like headband, headbutting helmet thing. It's not a helmet. It's like a. It's It's almost like a tiara, but it's like molded metal.
It only covered like the front of her head.
Right.
It went. Yeah, it was weird.
And she's like
a lot of weird helmets, actually.
And she's like, "Well, fucking, my whole crew is dead now. I guess I'm with Conan now." So she follows after them.
Yeah.
And so after a while, Conan's out on the steppes, the fields, and he looks back. He's like, "Oh fuck,
yeah,
another fucking groupie."
They've been looking over their shoulder, and they're like, "Who's following us?" And Conan's got the wherewithal to be like, "No, this is a good one. Stop."
Well, no, he's like, she just wants me to sign her tit. I've been through this a million times, And Mabata's like, "No, I don't like this. I'm gonna handle it," because he's feeling a little. This guy's like the perfection of mankind in front of him, so he's feeling a little like low. He's like, I got to prove that I'm a badass too.
Well, Jenna did say, "I've never been around a man," and Bambata's like, "I'm a man. I'm a fucking.
I fucked 20,000 women.
20,000. That's not nothing." And she just like, "Yeah, I guess you're kind of a man." But
meanwhile,
look
she doesn't even know what sex is, and we'll get into that later. So Bombada's like, I'm going to take care of it. So he goes back. He's like, bitch, get to stepping. There's no room in the manger. Fuck off. And she's like, Conan's my man. I want to fucking ride with you guys.
I'll talk to Conan or I'll beat your ass. And he's like, well, I guess you'll have to beat my ass.
And then she charges him, and she uses her staff like a joust, like a lance.
Yeah.
Knocks his ass off, which isn't that far fall because he's 7 feet tall. So he just falls off his horse.
Yeah. There was a lot of trouble with getting Wilt Chamberlain on a horse. They had to get a special horse for him.
Well, I believe it. And so then she starts going back and forth. And she's going back and forth. He's chopping her staff down like a foot at a time.
Yeah.
And then she's like, fuck it. And she just leaps off the horse, lands on him. And in real life, she bit his ear.
She did bite his ear?
Yes. And Wilt Chamberlain was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, there's real blood. If you see blood, that's real blood.
Dude.
She got so into the role.
She went full, what do they call that? Method. She was serving the crew raw steaks. Like, she would pay for fine steaks, but serve them raw. because she's like, this is what my character would do.
Well,
That's awesome. I love her
I don't see
level.
Vin Diesel doing that.
Thank you for calling out. So I don't feel alone in this bit of calling out modern action stars. You know what? Fuck them.
I hear you.
Back in the day.
So Conan's like, oh, let her hang with us. She's cool.
Yeah, Conan is like loving it. He's just like, you beat up Will. She can come.
I guess you aren't a man. And then he just turns around and keeps on going. And meanwhile, we're back to Alabama, and we see these Black Riders show up, and it's Queen Tamaris's guards, and they're like tailing our guys. So just keep that in mind. They're constantly being followed.
Did you know that?
Yes, I did know that.
I didn't recognize them.
Yes.
I was just like, oh, there's the random cut of these
she
Black
even
Riders.
said they were going to follow you. Because once they get it, they just want to kill Conan and just grab her and go back.
Gotcha.
And they know that Bombada, who's not a man, can't do it on his own.
Right.
So they're riding, and then they finally come to this crystal castle of Tath-Amon. And I want to point out something. Tath-Amon is, in the books, is like, and even, especially in the comic books, is Conan's like major bad guy. And this guy's nothing like the way he is in the comics.
Yeah.
In the comics, because he's supposed to be from Stygia, which is basically like Egypt. So he's supposed to be this like shriveled up dude. Like he's supposed to be the polar opposite of Conan. He's all about the mind and about magic and shit.
Yeah, Lex Luthor to Superman.
And this guy is like a big dude who actually he was in Raiders of the Lost Ark. He was the bald Nazi that Indiana Jones fights in front of the airplane.
Wow, that was that guy?
Yeah.
I know exactly who you're talking about, yeah.
And so he's Tath-Amon. So he's like, he can see them because he lives in this crystal castle out in the middle of a lake. And he's like, oh, they're coming finally.
Ugh.
Because he can't touch the heart of Aramar too. Only Queen Jenna can. And
that's what was happening there.
Right. So he wants her too.
Did not gather that.
So they stop at the shore, and they're like, let's do it. And Conan's like, wait, we must rest.
Yeah, Conan puts out the call. He's like, look, we need to rest. My petroleum jelly reserve has run out, so I will have to whip up a new batch. So everybody goes, takes a 5. They take a 5.
Which is, you should always have one person guarding.
Yeah, you're supposed to always have one person awake for like a 2-hour shift or something when you have 8 people.
But they're so cocky, they're like, we can sleep. Who
We're
cares?
all going to sleep.
So, and that's where Tath-Amon does his move. He turns himself into a fog pterodactyl.
Fogadactyl.
And he goes across, and then he grabs the princess and carries her back to the castle.
He's so gentle about it, she doesn't even wake up.
Yeah. And then he places her on a nice like bed made out of crystal with like a fur on it.
Yeah. So, again, doesn't even wake up.
And so the next day they wake up. And
The
oh,
crew.
shit. And like Wilt's like, holy fuck, this is my only job was to make sure she didn't get raped. Where is the princess?
Yeah, he's got to keep her a virgin.
And they're like, it must be the and then I think the Akira
immediately like
game knows game.
Yeah.
I know she is in there.
He even calls out, a steam falcon came here last night, and someone was like, no, I think it was like a pterodactyl, and he's like, shut up! Steam pterodactyl. That's what I said. We need to get in this boat.
And then he starts doing some fucking American Ninja hand gestures.
Yeah.
And then thankfully there happens to be a boat right where they stop. So like, oh, hey, that's cool. So they get in the boat. We see some of the worst green screen footage of all time.
Let's not worry about the technique used to like traverse the boat. Let's not worry about any of that because it doesn't make any sense. Let's just say magic carry them to this fog kingdom. Because even the kingdom on the horizon looked really sketch.
Well, it was like a lot of dry ice.
Yeah. They actually put dry ice in their mouth. Did you read that?
Yeah.
That was nuts.
And it didn't really work well either. It looked
shitty.
Yeah, it was too much.
Yeah. So, way to put actors in danger for a shitty effect.
So they get... Actually, I heard a story. Like, one of the first times they tried that, it was a Frank Capra, the guy who did It's a Wonderful Life. He was doing a movie set in the Antarctica, and they were the first to try it. And they put like a little cage where in your mouth. They put it... And the one actor was so so frustrated with it because he couldn't. Obviously, you can't really. They must have like overdubbed them after that because I can't imagine you could talk.
Yeah, exactly. You can't really.
So he's like, "Fuck it." He took it out and he put dry ice in his mouth and he fucked his like whole mouth up. I think he lost some teeth and shit.
It's the
But
dumbest idea I've ever
don't
heard
do
of.
that. And so they get on the shore and they follow this tunnel and the doors close and they're like, oh, I guess we can't go on the doors because that the fucking comic relief guy Malik, he's always a coward. Like, I guess this is it. We gotta go back.
I'll stay in here and make a fire. I got a couple of hot dogs in the back.
And then he did kind of remind me of Hydra Phil and cowardly. And Akiro's like, no, hey, no. And he goes, ugh. He starts doing this fucking American Ninja hand gestures. Down underwater.
We just need to dive, and then we'll come up, and then we'll be in the castle.
And they're like, I don't think that's a good idea. And they're like, fuck you. We trust Akiro. You swallow jewels, for fuck's sake.
Yeah,
and
you've been shitting jewels all night long. We're sick of it.
And so they just ignore him, and they follow Akiro, and luck would have it, they do find an entrance into the...
Yeah. So we're going to watch them just trek through this beautiful ice castle.
Giant spiral staircase through the middle of the... Get up there. We see the fake breathing. And then straight out of fucking Enter the Ninja, we go into a mirrored room.
So you read that this... Well, no. Was it Enter the Ninja, the Bruce Lee movie?
Yes.
Yeah. That they borrowed it from that movie.
Well, you could tell. I mean, this is like, I think, our fifth movie that's had a
I was going to say, this
is
is obviously not our first one. I just couldn't remember. We're actually going to see that in a couple weeks. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited to see that in the
so
theater.
Conan walks in first because the heart of Aramar is right in the middle, the jewel that they're there for.
Yeah, the prize. And they're just
he walks in, and then immediately behind him, the door shuts, and he's in a room full of mirrors. He doesn't know. The rest of the guys, they can see. It's a two-way mirror, so the rest of the guys can see him, but he can't see them. And he's like, oh, my God, what the fuck? And then all the mirrors show this guy with a red cloak on, with a hood up.
Oh, it's so cool.
And then, not really. It was really...
I like this
It was
part.
some really weak-ass fucking green screen. But it was 84, 85, so...
Yeah, no, I like this part.
So then they all come together to form one guy. And then he pulls back the hood, and it's this fucking awful...
Crazy chimera
reptile
man.
Yeah. I don't know.
Oh, it's probably what Matt Pike's been going on about. It's one of those lizard people.
Probably. It probably is. I got to check with my sources in QAnon. Yeah. Wink. And so... We get a nice wrestling match. They do the fucking power bomb. I thought he was going to do a power bomb, but he does like the Razor's Edge, you said?
Yeah, no, it looked like he was about to do a power bomb. There's a suplex. There's an elbow drop. There is a DDT, a clothesline, and then, a lot
Sweet
of people...
chin music, I think, happened.
Yeah, that was good. So, Conan sold it really well. You saw him slap his thigh really hard for that one. But no, I was thinking this too, because in the mid-'90s, I think, is when this move started coming around, where you'd be standing up, and then you'd put somebody who's like kind of crouched over between your legs, so the back of their head is like right under your snatch. Not snatch. What is the area?
Your crotch?
Crotch. Yeah.
Well, the woman's doing it.
That's true. That's true.
Women can power bomb.
Gooch is what the Jackass people used to always call that area. So you throw the back of their head under there, and they used to be the setup for the power bomb. So I thought he was going to do a power bomb. But then one of my favorites when I was growing up, Razor Ramon had this move called the Razor's Edge, and he was like this Italian, God-loving, but he was a sleazeball.
I thought he was supposed to be like Hispanic. Is he Italian?
He might have.
His name was Ramon.
Yeah. I might be getting all my knowledge.
All your stereotypes mixed up.
It was very stereotypical. I'm probably getting them all mixed up. But and what he would do, he would get him in that powerbomb stance or the Triple H pedigree stance. All of them use it at the time.
Technical here.
Yeah, I think even the Tombstone used that.
Okay.
But instead he would flip them over, back of the head, then he would take their arms and spread them out like he was being crucified on his back.
Maybe he was going to Razor's Edge, but Conan wiggles out of it. And then he grabs his sword, because his sword got knocked away in the beginning. And then he goes like, fuck it, I'm outmatched. This guy's bigger than me. I can't wrestle him. I can cut his ass with a sword, though. And he slices him, and it goes right through him like a ghost.
Yeah.
And Conan's like, oh, shit. What am I going to do?
So I think he gets him again in like a headlock or something, and he's trying to get leverage. So he kicks one of the mirrors,
Yeah.
And when he kicks it, he's like, "Oh, that's like sugar." So it just breaks apart.
And
but
then you see a slash across the lizard guy's chest.
And the man beast starts
horrible.
like
you think
this was bad? Yeah,
this would be a horrible. Like, why would you set up your whole fight where all you gotta do is break mirrors and it'll kill you?
Well, if you're not smart enough.
Well, this guy's a fucking wizard. He is smart enough.
No, I'm saying if Conan's not smart enough.
Well, yeah, but you got to take into account somebody might fall into a mirror. You're wrestling.
Also, no one's as strong as Conan in the land.
Okay.
So maybe it takes a lot of strength to break these mirrors.
And they're watching. The gang is watching through their two-way mirror, and of course, fucking douchebag Malik. That's what I would have done.
I would have done that. He's playing the perfect, I want to be the face's helper guy, or even the heels helper guy who's always doing shady shit for him.
Yeah, he's a toady. He's a henchman.
There you go. Thank you.
And so Conan just starts bashing every mirror, and it fucks. It just cut slashes left and right all over the lizard dude.
Until finally, there's 2 mirrors remaining.
Well, and he collapses, and he's just covered with his cloak. You just see a body of the cloak.
Yeah.
And then there's just as luck would have it, there's only 2 mirrors left. One has our crew, our gang, our Scooby gang. Other one, Thoth-Amon is behind, but Conan doesn't know which one. What are the odds that you would break every mirror except the 2 that had the people behind them?
Right.
Go figure.
And
then Conan's like, looks both ways, and then he points right at our guys like, "Oh shit, like Conan, no!"
He's taking crow hops and everything. You're like, "Oh,
I don't even
shit."
think, you know what he did? He pulled out a lawn dart. He was like, he just closed his eyes, pulled out a lawn dart, and then he goes to hurl it at our gang.
Crom, take the wheel.
And then he just
wow, I killed that one.
Well, that's my favorite song is Jesus Take the Wheel. So
yeah,
I like that callback.
Okay.
And he turns around, and at the last minute, he throws it, and it goes right through Thoth-Amon's mirror.
He's putting all of his momentum to our friend's mirror, turns around at the last second, throws it. Yeah.
And then Thoth-Amon stumbles out with a fucking lawn dart right in his eye, and he's just like,
we should have never fucking mass-produced this.
Well, I thought they
toy.
outlawed these in Samaria. And not in Samaria, buddy. We play hard in Samaria.
Yakmala, bitch.
And he just collapses. And I think he just disappears. Because then we see...
He turns to mirrors.
Well, no, the other body turns to mirrors. Because you see the cloak.
Oh,
They rip the cloak off where the lizard man was, and it's just a pile of mirrors.
Okay.
And they're like, all right. Then all of a sudden, Bambata! She woke up. She had another bad dream.
Yeah.
And Bambata rushes to her aid. Always got her back, yet she wants to fuck Conan. He totally friend-zoned Bambata.
Totally did.
And he's like, my princess, it's good. And they're like, hey, the Heart of Aramar, it's in that room.
Yeah.
Can you go get it? So she gets out, she picks it up. It's like, and I love this. You can't touch it with your hand, but you can put it in a sack, because they put it in a sack, and Bambata can carry the sack.
Yeah.
So you couldn't have just, gotten a sword and, tipped it off the thing into a sack
into
and
a super
away.
safe sack, But
hey, that's logic, and we're not talking about a logical movie. Maybe it was a magical bag. I don't know. So then, all of a sudden, of course, since the wizard dies, the castle has to start crumbling, so it starts falling apart.
They have to make a daring escape, which you don't see any of the previous sets we saw before. It's just them, basically jumping while a bomb explodes behind them. And back into the boat.
Back into the bad fucking green screen, and they escape.
So they get to land, and sure enough, just like out of Gymkhana, the Black Riders are waiting for them.
Zamir is there with his dangly earring. He's like, I think you have something belongs to me.
I would like you to climb up this rock while my archers shoot arrows at you. Don't worry, these chief official flag guards will make sure this is all above board.
And then one of the guys grabs the princess, I'm assuming with the Heart of Amara, and takes off. So Conan gives chase. And so does Bambata. Even Bambata's in on it. He's just like, okay, everything's going to plan. I'm going to play it cool. And we get this epic fucking story. The rest of the gang takes on the other riders, but Conan goes after the main rider who has the princess. So he stops. The guy's like, fuck, I'm not going to be able to run Conan. I'm gonna fight him. So So he fights this dude played by Sven-Ole Thorsen, who is in every fucking Conan movie, or in every Schwarzenegger movie.
Schwarzenegger.
He was in the first Conan movie. He was the guy who raised the snake that Thulsa Doom had. And we have this epic sword fight, and of course, Schwarzenegger wins. He twirls it around. He does all this shit, and
It's okay. It's an okay fight.
Well, there's not much. There's not much stuff you can do with sword fighting. I realize that.
There really isn't. It's not that cool.
Especially if you're doing broadswords. Like if you're doing like fencing swords, maybe you could do some cooler shit.
You could probably make it look a little more fun. Conan is also constantly swinging, no joke, a $10,000 sword around. This is not a prop sword he's using. So yeah, they're being very cautious because it's legit. Like, he's got to be careful with that thing.
So it basically looks like when you were 5 and you and your buddies had sticks and you're going...
Supposedly this is one of the things, if you pay attention, which clearly I didn't and clearly you didn't, but you could see him like eye contact to where they were trying to strike. Like 5-year-olds, usually you strike...
You're trying to hit the sword.
At one point he hit his buddy's hands, fucked him up pretty good.
Well, it's probably a practical joke. I cut off your finger.
Aw, dude. Don't worry, I'll show you at the bench press.
I bet your finger ain't worth $10,000.
Yeah.
And he dispatches the guy, and then Bombada shows up and hits Conan.
Oh, fuck, what?
Yeah.
Bombada, I thought he was cool.
Well, Bombada, he plays it off. He's like, wait. I thought you were going to attack the princess. Yeah, that's the ticket. That's what I meant.
I was worried about how close you were to the princess.
And Conan's like, what the fuck, man? I thought we were on the same side. And he's like, "Hey, I hear the battle, I hear the moment.
Let's start a campfire. We'll put up a couple hot dogs. Don't worry about it.
Everybody just chill, everybody.
We'll roll out our sleeping sacks. We'll have a good time. I brought my lute. I'll sing you that song you like, Conan. Don't worry about it."
And he's like, "You got some cuts. Don't worry. I got some.
I got a beautiful salve.
It's the original. What petroleum jelly was based on. This is the original.
Oh, this was from that weed that
Ancients, yes. That only grows in Tibet.
43 miles away or so?
Yeah, 43 miles up the slopes of Mount Everest.
Oh, man. Okay. So
that's why so many people are trying to get to Mount Everest, Graf, because they're trying to get that special weed.
That's why they're dying like idiots?
Well, if you could get the power of fucking petroleum jelly, I'm going to make our fortune back with that.
Okay, good point.
I'm going to mix in some bathwater, see what happens.
So, we're having this beautiful campfire. Everybody's relaxing. Oh, poor Mill. She slept on her leg hard. Everyone's having a good time, except Millhouse, who's got a sleepy leg, and she's limping on it. And, Conan is hitting the bottle hard. He's going full Bukowski here. He's reciting poems. He's like, "It's a late night, everybody. And I gotta tell you, this wine is about as sour as that lady snatch that I saw the other night."
You got snatch on the brain,
dude.
It's
Bukowski, man. That's his language. I can't help it.
Well, hey, man, fight hard, party hard. It's Conan's motto.
And that's Bukowski's motto.
And while that's going on, fucking perv, Malik, the douche, he knows the princess is way out of his league. He's never gonna, but he's like, maybe this black chick will be into me.
Yeah.
And so he's like, ooh, let me put some of this petroleum jelly on your wound.
Zula at this moment is treating a wound.
Yeah.
And she's left her guard. Her spear's on the ground. She took off that weird headpiece she wears to protect her forehead from migraines or something.
It's got copper in it, yeah.
It's got copper. So that's probably what it is. And so, fucking Malik moves in. He's just like, don't worry, I see that you're having a hard time. It's a place that she can clearly
right on
reach.
her knee.
It's not like suntan lotion on the small of your back or something. No. And he's like, let me do it. And he immediately grabs her by the pussy.
He trumped her.
He trumps her big time. And
I think he was playing gay chicken with her, but he didn't realize she's a chick. So, because he's inching his way up, he didn't immediately grab the pussy. He finessed it.
He finessed it.
Well, he thought he was finessing it. Zula was totally onto it. She's like, "Hey, fuck face. My goddamn wound's on my fucking ankle. What the fuck's going on with this shit?"
Are you trying to say he Seagal'd her? Hey, I noticed you're having some weird chi here.
Yeah.
Let me follow that chi.
Your chakras. It starts in your snake.
I notice your big toes off, but really when I follow this vein up into your snatch.
And she's like, I ain't having any of this shit. So she just goes, get out of here, you fucking bird.
She swats him like a
He's
fly.
like, and he just scurries
He
away.
shits out a diamond. It was great. I love that.
That was
See?
funny. It
Why
went down
did
his
you
pants
not-
leg. When they had the big sound effect. And then
Why
he
did you
throws
not
it.
like this movie? That scene alone is worth it.
Okay. Yeah, I forgot that scene, but it's a great scene. So, so the princess is like, look, I was totally useless. I need to learn how to fight. Zula, can you teach me how to fight?
Yeah.
Of course I can teach you how to fight. I'm a fucking badass. Let me show you this. And she's like,
Well, she tries to sleep with Conan, and Conan's like, no, because she's like, hey, what was this lady's name? Valeria.
yeah. She's
Val-
like, you could never.
Valeria is so fucking great.
She's like Zula, but better.
Yeah, she's Zula, but so much better. Bigger tits, more ass. I've seen
Don't
her.
let me tell you about her snatch.
Don't let me tell you about her.
Mwah.
She's
Man.
cut giants' heads off, and then he just keeps whittling off all of her combat victories.
But you don't want to do that. You
So
don't want to do
Je-
that to a girl. Come on.
Jenna's too smart. She realized, like, oh, he's really into this combat thing. Like,
Yeah.
if I can cut a giant's head
Right.
off, he'd be into me.
He's like, Valeria beat Ronda Rousey.
So,
God damn it.
yeah, exactly. So Conan's kind of like fading. He's hitting that bottle hard again. Remember, he's
Yeah,
Bukowski.
he's
here.
probably got a bad case of whiskey dick, too. So he's like, you know.
Bukowski
I
loves
would
writing about
fuck
his
you if
whiskey
I
dick.
wanted to, but, you know, I
Yeah.
don't want to.
So Zula, she sees Zula in the corner and like approaches her, and Zula is just like, "Grasshopper, I will teach you. Let's go." Grab my scrap. I kept mixing this up last week. Spear. I kept saying sphere.
It's a staff or a
Sphere.
spear. It's both.
Well, no, it's a spear.
Well, it's got a pointed end, but she does throw it, but she doesn't throw it a
Yeah,
lot. She
it's
usually.
true. But no, it's supposed to be a spear. That's how people identify it. So she's like, well, let me teach you. So tosses her the spear, showing her some moves. She's picking it up
Yeah,
like
like a
nothing.
staff.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, whatever. you bring up a good point.
It's
Anyway,
a staff / spear. It's It's like a Swiss Army knife.
our best digression ever.
So she's like, here, you do this. And then Conan's like, enough of that tippy-tap bullshit. It is
Yeah.
about power. Let me show you.
I like that he's more threatened by Zula than he is by Wilt Bambata.
Wilt is totally, his
Like-
balls are missing.
Like, he's like,
Is he
no
a
one's...
eunuch? Is he a eunuch?
He might be.
Yeah.
He's like, no one's making a move on her. I know she's mine. As soon as she starts talking to Zula, he's like, no, wait. Wait a minute.
Let me show you about the power.
Like, I can get to the power. None of that tippy-tap bullshit. Let me show you the power kicks.
And then he just fucking collapses because he's so fucked up drunk.
This shows her one good overhand.
Yeah, he's like, this is all you need. Chopper.
This is all you need.
And she's like, okay, all right.
Zula, can you help
And
me
then
out
he
here?
walks in. Bombada's like, I can only take so much fucking ball busting from these people. Why are you making fun of fucking Malik? He's the douche of the group. And then, so he gets up there, and Conan just walks into him and collapses. He like walks into a wall and just falls down drunk. And we get a wah, wah.
Ooh, boy.
Next day, so we're on the way. We got the key, Griff. Now we got to find the horn.
And we're going by Jenna's intuition again. This is what's leading
Well, she's
us.
doing echolocation, making those noises.
Yeah, she's a dolphin?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's like a bat. I was thinking bat, but I guess
Okay.
do dolphins do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
She's a
I
land
base this
dolphin.
on that Sega game, Echo the Dolphin.
And she's like, okay, it's here. I can tell. It's 43 miles this way, due west. So they start going, and while they're walking, they're not walking, they're riding horses. And she goes up to Zula. She's like, Zula, what do you, if you want a guy, like, I'm really into this guy. You don't know him, but I'm into him, and he's not into me. What do you do to get a man?
Well, Zula tells him straight up, if I wanted a man, I would take him,
And grab him by the pussy.
grab him by the pussy, bend him over.
You know how many times I've used this staff for other things? Huh. I'm just saying. Zula's pegged.
So
the guy before.
Jenna is just like, all right,
Okay,
all right.
that's
I'll put that in the back of the
That's
mind.
a little rough, but I can dig with it.
Well, she doesn't know rough from
Well,
not
she's
rough.
15.
She's
She doesn't
15.
know. She's a virgin.
The only man she's ever seen is
There's no
Bambata.
internet porn. This is fucking back in the olden days.
She's only seen Bambata.
Yeah, and he's
So-
like a eunuch.
She's smart enough to go, I need a second opinion. And she goes to Malik.
Well, for some reason, he goes. The wizard at least is wise. He might know some Kama Sutra
and
shit.
Kira would be a lot more interesting of a conversation, but instead they go to Malik, who's like, well, your princess, here's what I would do.
So basically, what we learn is Malik's probably never had sex either because he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, he is very, very, very like, well, you see the birds and the beetles. You see what happens. Yeah. He's gonna take his large figure, and you're gonna take your honesty, and well, they're gonna combine, and a diamond's gonna form out your butt.
That's what happens, people. And she's like, interesting. Okay.
She gives him a confused look. You don't get this in the audible format that we present this in, but she's very confused about Malik's advice.
And then he shits out another diamond, and they move on. And they finally reach this another temple. Temple of Doom.
They hit this like choke point where they can't get their horses in, and
it's big enough to walk sideways through.
Yeah, like everybody's big enough to squeeze into it, but Conan's just like, "You sure we could just go around?" No, women's intuition. You got to trust.
If we
me
go
on
around,
this
it's gonna be 46 miles. It's 43 miles
this way. So
you see this weed here? This weed only grows here. Only around the where the Horn Temple is. I don't know what it's called.
And Conan's just like, look, I haven't murdered someone in like 2 days. My sword is thirsty. Fuck it. Let's go with, what do you call it? Woman's intuition? Yeah, let's go in here.
So they they go right through the little alleyway. It's like 5 feet wide, long.
Crypt, temple, what do you want to call this thing?
Whatever, temple. Why not? And
yeah.
They go inside. It's like built right into the side of this like cliff face.
It's super cool. I'd love to tour this place.
And I think it's Mammoth Caves in Kentucky. Where they
in Kentucky? This. Oh, man, I've been wanting to go there.
And they go in, and they come to this door. And they're like, well, I guess that's it. We got to leave. The door's shut.
Oh, fucking shut up, Malik.
Conan's like, look, I got to show off my muscles, so let me do this.
He didn't let Wilt try it first?
No, he tries it first. And then he's like, oh, shit. I'm gonna look bad in front of the princess.
Oh, you're right.
Wilt, I don't want to leave you out on this. Why don't you help me?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't need help, princess, but I want to make, we've been busting his non-balls for fucking days. We need to let Bambata have some.
Dude, this is a great leadership thing to do, though.
Exactly.
To be like, you notice when he first tried to open the door, push it open, you didn't see any muscles popping out.
Right.
And then when him and Wilt, all the muscles are popping. Right.
And then they're like, yo, Malik, see if there's like a lock or something. And thankfully there is a lock.
Yeah, Wilt and Conan have lifted the door slightly. Yeah. And Malik is just frail enough to fit through and
scurries through. And then he sees a little lever. He pulls it. He's straining on the lever.
Oh, my God. Come on, Malik.
And then he stops. Hey, I did it, guys.
And
while
love
that's
your Malik,
going on,
by the
like
way.
you were
your
saying,
Malik is so good.
Showing good leadership, while that was going on, they did the trust fall thing where Conan had Bambata like fall backwards into him, and he caught him. And then like that, Bambata's back in with the gang. He's like,
I don't know why Conan's out killing people. He should be teaching people about leadership. He should be doing conferences.
Well, he does when he becomes a king. That was supposed to be the next movie. He was just going to teach leadership skills.
Conan Arnold,
but fortunately, this shitty movie ruined the hope of any franchise.
Yeah, like Arnold literally abandoned, because there was a third movie lined up, and he abandoned it after this movie because he's like, "You guys fucking."
Well, he
suck.
tried it one more time with Red Sonja. He did not play Conan, but he played a Conan-like character.
Yeah, I'm really interested about that.
That movie stinks too. That's another PG. Ugh. It's taking me back. There's this fucking. You think fucking Malik is awful? There's this little Chinese kid in the movie who's a prince, so he's like super cocky, and he's a little kung fu kid.
Round eye.
And Short round.
Short round.
And well, don't worry, Round Eye's an insult for us, so don't worry about that.
Yeah.
But he's just like,
I thought that was his nickname.
He's
in
like,
the movie,
I can kick anyone's ass. It's like all that for like an hour and a half.
Oh man,
so
that's really disappointing because obviously we buy comics together. I know you're a
Yeah.
big fan of Conan. I know you're a fan of Red Sonja.
Yeah,
I-
Red Sonja's she's got a mullet in this movie. Red Sonja is played by Stallone's ex-wife Brigitte Nielsen, who we last saw in Cobra.
What?
And she has a mullet.
She was Red Sonja?
Yeah.
I don't like that casting at all.
Well, they picked her because she was like a very statuesque, tall woman.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, she's like over 6 feet tall.
Stallone, I thought, was like 5'4".
He is, yeah. He's not that short, but he's short. She was taller than him.
You wouldn't be able to tell?
Well, I'm sure they all set up every scene in Cobra where
I
he's
know.
he's on an apple box.
Yeah, okay. Anyways, let's go back to the movie.
Don't worry, we're not going to do Red Sonja. So, or maybe we will.
I don't know. I kind of want to.
Well, maybe. There's other fantasy movies I want to get to first, though.
Okay.
But anyway,
we got all the time.
We're in the temple of Doom, and they're like, all right, Jenna, do your thing. You're on. So she places the heart of Aramir on this pedestal, and then there's this. It's like a dragon head kind of thing, and the mouth opens, and all this horrible green screen fire comes out. And Jenna walks because she's the virgin with a mark. I want to point out the only time you ever see the special mark is in this scene. It's on her breast. It's like,
okay.
You see, it's like a star shaped kind of like
is it?
Birthmark.
I didn't even notice it.
Yeah, but that's the only time you see it because it's never on there for the rest of the movie.
Okay.
And so she walks because she has the mark and she's a virgin. She can walk through the fire and she finds the horn.
Okay.
She comes out. So like, all right, that's it, guys. That's it. We got the horn. Let's go back. So as soon as they're walking out, they go to the entranceway, and there's these guys there. And I thought it was like, this is who I thought was the Queen Teramis's guys, but these are a whole different guy. They're like the cult of the horn or some shit. Didn't that guy, the magician guy, was like ching ching ching
yeah.
ching? Didn't he look almost exactly like the guy who was going to sacrifice her later on in the movie?
Yes.
But it's different guys.
I was very confused about this.
Yeah.
First of all, I thought they were worshipping it as the god cod. Thought it was a nice cod piece for their dick.
No. Well, I guess you could. You could use it for anything.
I mean, you could. It's obviously
But no, the
phallic.
horn is supposed to awaken the dream god Dagoth. And they worship Dagoth.
Oh, wow, there's a spider right over your shoulder right now. That's kind of cool. I have a lot of spiders in my house.
So, they don't have the statue. Like, I thought you needed the statue too, but they're like, we want the horn and we want the princess.
Well, yeah, they're fucking people with it. So,
okay, and so they're like, no, you're not. And then they just go, let's go back to the room.
Conan, like you mentioned, retreated them out of the temple. Now they're retreating back into it, back under that gate that Malak had to lock into place. And they're like, okay, well, just lock the gate back down. They can't do anything about that. Well, it turns out the Lord of the Sex Fiends is a magician, which Conan, in this whole movie, is prefaced. Like, the only foreshadowing of this movie is Conan going, magicians? I do not like I don't know why this accent. I can't do accent. I don't like magicians. I'm going to get my own magician.
I need the wizard.
So he's like, fight magic with magic. So Sex Lord Wizard comes down, sees that Malak has now lowered the gate with all them safe on the other side where they got the horn.
Right.
And there's only this dragon's mouth thing that they're like, we can retreat to here, but
apparently there's a tunnel there that they didn't notice earlier.
Yeah.
And so I did like the wizard, the evil wizard, Sex Fiend wizard. He had these bracers covering his forearms, and before he would do a move, he'd go ching ching ching, like knock him together.
It was his cell. Like, that was how he told the audience, guess what? Shit's real. And then he would do a nice little joint spliff smoke to his lips, and then he would flick it, and then he would do his magic. It's good touch.
We have a battle between the two wizards. The door's going up, down, up, down, up, down.
That wasn't this door. That was the dragon's mouth.
I thought they did both.
No, they went right into...
They just abandoned the...
They abandoned the door because they didn't know he's a magician yet.
Oh, okay.
They went into the dragon's mouth, and they were lowering it, and then it started to raise, and that's where we get this fucking awesome wizard. Honestly, I love this battle.
Well, I didn't. But Akira,
it is really cerebral.
He sounds like
you don't get it.
Yeah, I didn't get it at all. Because he sounds like he's down the fucking toilet. He's like, and he's doing his fucking Power of the Ninja moves.
At this point, it's yesterday, but I did put up that picture of the squints. Just imagine. I sent it to you yesterday. But just imagine that face, but more strained.
Yeah. And they're just, it's the things going up and down. They're like Bombada's like, Princess, come on, we have to go. They got it covered. So Bombada grabs Princess, and they go through this like a series of tunnels. And then Conan's like, fuck it, we got to go. And they just...
Akira's like, watch this one last move. Send some mind daggers through the wizard and fucking slays him.
Did he? I thought Conan threw a dagger.
He kills him. Akira kills him because then he's all winded afterwards. Like he pushed his magic abilities to the brim, man.
So they go to follow Bombada and Jenna, but Bombada's like, fuck it. Now's the move I got to make. So he grabs his mace with the fucking bird beak and starts hammering up on the ceiling, and then it causes a land like an avalanche.
Yeah.
And the whole tunnel collapses behind him, and he takes the princess away. And the princess is kind of cool with it. She's just so dumb. She's like, "Oh, where's Conan? He's behind us. Don't worry.
We got to get out of here."
And then I don't know. I guess he used his like senses. He's like. He does what Red Brown did at the docks when he was looking for the proper box. He just taps on the wall. It's like, yeah, there's the spot.
This is supposed to be one of the continuity errors because you see him moving the rocks and you can tell like they're flexing like they're foam with his hand.
Definitely they were when Conan like.
That's what I meant when Conan was
totally. Yeah, I noticed that.
I didn't even notice.
But so he breaks out. He finds the weak spot in the wall, and he breaks out. And just luck would have it, it's right where they left the horses.
Right where they left the horses. Obviously, there's one or two. I think it was just one. I think he saddled her up with him. Yeah. Or was it two?
Well, he probably saddled her up so she wouldn't escape. She probably at this time she knows something's up. She's like, "What's going on here?"
Okay, but Murray, this is getting into our third act, and I just want to know. Can you reflect on how you felt at this point in the movie? Because we're an hour into an hour. No. We're like an hour and 10, 20 minutes into an hour 40 movie. Yeah. Are you like, come on, guys, let's just get this over with. You've wasted my mom's $8. I'm done.
It would have been probably like $3. This is like 35 years ago.
Okay, that's fine. Just throwing out
my mom wouldn't
here.
pay $8.
Okay.
Adjusted for inflation, $8.
For the sake of the podcast... Your mom is throwing away $3 on her dumb child to get into this movie.
Why do you gotta say dumb child?
Because you're ruining the flow.
I'm
sorry.
Enhancing the flow.
Sorry. The handsome flow. I mean, the handsome $3. Anyways.
Who's ruining the flow now? What are you talking about?
I am. I absolutely am.
Yeah, okay, get on with it. What do you want to know?
How are you feeling at this point in the movie? We're going to the third act, man. We're finishing this movie off here in a minute.
Well... This is 35 years ago, so I don't remember. So I'm gonna lie and tell you, Griff. I'm like, get on with it. Let's get this. It's the magic of acting we learned from Billy Drago. And I'm like,
you're not doing the hand gestures.
Well, yeah, I'm just caressing your face right now.
It is weird.
Let me
get you an egg real quick so you can stop caressing me.
So yeah, I'm like, get this fucking thing over with. Like, I'm looking at my fucking Dukes of Hazzard watch. I'm like, come on, what the fuck? Is that what you want to know? That's
fine.
Okay, so back to the action.
Go ahead, get it moving along.
Conan, like you said, moves all the styrofoam rocks away. They find the exit, and they're like, all right, we have to rescue. No, let's just go. I stole a bunch of jewels out of that throne room.
I'm gonna dookie out so much money for us, Conan.
Cha-ching.
It's hurting my intestine. Why? Never mind. There's so many problems I have with Malik.
You just want him to die. You're like, I wish he would, like, have a ruptured colon and just fucking die of septic.
Yeah. So Conan's like, I see you're suffering. Let me explain what's happening here. They're trying to... Akira actually clued Conan in. He read the writing. There's literally writing on the wall.
That was an important plot point we forgot to...
Yeah, that's fine. We got it now.
Yeah, there was some important writing on the temple wall that explained everything.
Absolutely everything.
That the virgin had to be sacrificed in order for Dagoth to come back, and when he comes back, he's going to destroy the world. So why you want to bring him back, I don't know.
Probably
I guess
with
they
the
must.
God.
I think Queen Tamara's got a different translation. Like she Google translated it and it fucked it up a little.
That might have been it.
Because she thought they were going to like reign forever and 1,000 years of peace and all this shit.
I believe it. Google Translate. I mean, Google's fucking us all over, so it makes perfect sense.
So like we got to make it up to Shadazar. So they're in pursuit, and once they get there, they realize there's guards there. There's 2 guards, but they're like, there must be hundreds of guards.
Yeah,
there's
Malik's
2 guys
bitch.
on horseback, and they're like, oh, I guess we gotta leave.
Well, this is where Malik's problem with pooping up diamonds comes into play, because he's like, I've sometimes pooped up some of my treasures into the sewer system, and I know it leads out right over there about 43 feet away from the gate entrance.
It was 43 yards, but
43 yards, you're right. 43 yards is about 3 times 43 feet, so yeah.
For you people that use a metric system, trust us, that's a long way.
Yeah. So they run out there, and they find the sewer entrance.
Of course, it's by a waterfall.
Of course, it's by a waterfall. Of course, there's a couple diamonds laying there. Of course, Malik swallows them immediately. Why? What is this system of swallowing diamonds he has? Like, when does he
There used
ever
to be a
use
guy
them?
that would come on Johnny Carson who would do that. He could regurgitate shit. He'd swallow like billiard balls, and then he could bring them up. But he could like twist them around so they'd be like.
Oh yeah,
he
he'd swallow the 8 and then the 9 ball,
Yeah.
but then he would spit the 8 ball out. Ooh,
Yeah.
weird. Sewers.
This is
Let's
how
go.
bad. Like we're doing everything not to talk about this
Not to
movie.
talk
But
about
then,
this
then
movie.
again, we want to get this movie over with. So let's do it, Greg.
I mean, we'll get to it at the end. Let's go. Let's go. Push metal to the pedal here.
So they find there's an entranceway. It's got bars, but of course Conan's the man. He just bends the bars. They get in. We see the scene. We learn that the Queen Tamaris, she's like she drugged the princess. She's like, here, drink this. This will help you, because I hear you've taken up eating jewels. And he's like, this will help your stomach. So it's a drug. So she's all drugged up, and she's like, Bambada, get everything ready. We're ready for the sacrifice. It's the day. The moon is this and there, and everything's ready.
Yeah.
While that's going on, Conan, they're sneaking in. They do the old move where they throw some pebbles by the guards, distract them, come out, kill the guards.
Yeah.
They rush the altar, the ceremony, the throne room. So picture this, guys. We got this. We got the statue of Dagoth chilling on his bench. We got the princess. She's drugged up out of her fucking mind, man. She's on some serious Molly right now.
She's feeling the vibes.
And there's some techno playing. She's into it. And she's got the horn, because only she can put the horn on the statue. There's a little circle on the forehead of the horn of the statue. Puts it there. Fits perfectly. Perfect. All right. And now for the sacrifice. Because you have to, important thing, if you do not sacrifice her at the right moment, when the statue starts to move, that's when you sacrifice.
It's like Back to the Future, you have to wait until the exact moment that the lightning strikes to connect the wires to get the
43 gigawatts.
Thank you. I couldn't remember the figure. 43 gigawatts to the fucking flux deporian. What is it called?
Flux capacitor.
Flux capacitor. And so her flux capacitor needs to be put in the right place to get the knife to her throat.
So we get the guy who I thought was the wizard from the last scene, but it's a totally different guy, but he looks exactly the same.
Yeah.
And he's got the knife, and he's ready to do it. But hello and behold.
Well, I mean, we're going to stall for a minute here because we have a big fight that has been happening.
Oh, I forgot all about that.
I know you did.
It was boring.
And we can't... Well, it was boring. We finally get
they
see...
split up. Conan goes one way, and Zula and the rest of the crew go another way.
They're in the room together, and then Conan's fighting out because we finally get the Bambada versus Conan fight.
Bambacalada.
And Conan, after he's defended a few blows, he's like, guys, don't worry.
This is really anticlimactic.
He's a joke. Yeah, really, it was. He's a joker. Go on ahead, save the princess. Zula,
I got this.
Zula, I'm counting on you. I know you're going to win this for me. You're going to get the big W.
He's once again using those leadership skills.
Exactly. Malik, you're a bitch. Zula.
He's like Tom Brady. He's just like delegating. He's like,
really
you're
is.
my Edelman. Do it.
He's good, but when he's a team player like he is the best. So, yeah, he just handles Wilt Chamberlain. There's no fight to it.
Yeah.
Like, Wilt's, like, grabbing at
He gets a bloody nose, but
yeah,
that's about
he's
it.
grabbing vases and trying to fight him off with various objects, and Conan is just taking it across the jaw, man.
And then he just stabs him in the chest with a dagger. He's even man enough to kill him with a sword.
Yeah,
You're not even worthy of a sword.
He's like, I don't want to clean my sword today. You're too big.
This stuff's 10 grand.
Too much blood. Too much. No.
And then Bumba Colada just collapses, dies.
So what you were alluding to a moment ago in the altar room is Zula has now arrived, sees the knife at the throat of Jenna.
She's up there on like on a balcony type thing.
Yeah.
They're up high.
Yeah, and she has perfect accuracy when she throws her spear.
Yes. It's a spear right now.
Spear.
Yes.
So she throws it down, immediately fucking just chops the head up. Again, PG movie, violent as fuck.
We can handle it back then.
Not enough violence, for sure.
No.
But still, for a PG movie, it's like, wow.
She impales the guy, he collapses, and just as that's going on, the statue's moving. It's too late, guys. Everything that was supposed to happen is fucked up because she's not killed at the right moment. So what happens is the statue turns into the shittiest looking fucking monster I've ever seen.
I liked it.
Oh my God, Griff, it was awful.
It was like a 50s
It wasn't
throwback.
even good enough for fucking Power Rangers. That's
Dude,
how bad it was.
Well, I liked Power Rangers, and it was on par with that.
No, it was worse.
It felt like a 50s throwback monster, for
It was
sure.
dog shit.
I
It
liked
looked
it.
like a pile of shit with a horn on its head.
I liked it.
And it was played by Andre the Giant, people. Fun fact. Uncredited Andre the fucking Giant.
I had been waiting for him all
time.
movie. That's the
Wasted
only thing
his
I knew
time.
about this movie was Wilt Chamberlain and Andre the Giant run it.
And so it fucking the Queen Tamarisk is like, no, I can fix everything. I'm gonna kill the princess. The fucking Dagon's like, I ain't having it. He just kills. I think he impales her on the horn. Right? He impales the queen on the horn.
Yeah.
And just flings her around like a rag doll. Everyone's screaming. Lightning is shooting into the fucking building.
That's when Conan
Shit's
finally
going wild.
arrives.
Conan shows up like, I got this.
Get out of Budiadia!
Go to the chopper!
Get to the... He says that a few times in this movie. Breaks the fourth wall.
But he didn't say I'll be back. That was the crazy part.
Yeah.
So we get another boring fight. It's because Andre can't do shit. He's in basically a hefty bag with a horn taped to his forehead, and they're just like bear hugs. That's basically it. It was just a bunch of bear hugs.
It is.
And then Akira who
Akira.
says like, the horn is his power.
Yeah, of course it's Akira who senses magic in the air, and he's just like, oh, the horn is summoning all that magic, so just rip the horn off. And so Conan's like, I ripped that god's card right off his forehead.
And rip his god's card, he does. And look, and Akira's right, because the monster collapses, spews up some shit out of his horn hole.
Yeah, just like some baby bile.
Yeah, it looks kind of like Exorcist shit. The
Yeah.
vomit. And then Conan's like, did it again.
So, Queen's dead, Princess is now the new ruler.
Queen is dead. Long live the queen, because Princess Jenna becomes the queen.
She is immediately got...
People's princess.
The
Princess
people's-
Diana
sure.
of
Sure.
Shadizar.
She immediately promotes all of her friends.
Yeah, she's like, I think you're a thief. You'd be good. And then she told. Finally, somebody puts Balak in his place. She's like, you're a fucking moron. You're gonna be my jester. And he's like,
Did they?
yeah, and he's like,
I missed that.
okay,
Yeah.
whatever. I have no dignity. I shit out diamonds.
I mean, come on. Can you really be saying, I have dignity while you're shitting diamonds?
No, you
So,
can't.
finally, the last person to
Well, the
join
captain of the guard's gonna be Zula. She's
Yeah.
like, hey, sisters are doing it for themselves. We can do this.
Yeah, Zula's just like, yeah, man.
And but I love how it's like this very empowering moment for women, and then Zula has to look to Conan to get his approval, and then he's like,
She did?
yes. She looks because she's like excited, and then she looks at Conan. Can I do that? And he's like, gives her a little nod.
I think it was because it was like, hey, can I join you in your adventures? Because she knew that he was going elsewhere. And she was like, I want to mind your space. Like, I'm not trying to be one of those girls. I'll train all these people how to be badass warriors.
Well,
but-
you're looking at it from a very woke way. I choose to believe she just wanted permission from Conan, and Conan gave it because he's that kind of guy.
Okay.
And he gives permission to Malik because he's like, God, thank you, get rid of that fucking piece of shit.
Yeah, he's thrilled to get rid of him.
She's like, I need a wizard. He's like, hey, and so Akira. He's like, all right.
Yeah.
And then she's like, and I need a king. And then
rule
Conan's
this land
like,
and rule my pussy.
Conan's like, bitch, I'm going to get my own fucking bank.
Yeah.
I don't need some hand-me-down shit as our, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Kingdom. That's exactly what I was trying to say, Griff. Thank you.
Kingdom.
And she's like, can I at least kiss you? He's like, okay, and like they get, thankfully, because remember, guys, she's 15 years old, the actress, and they just go a little chaste kiss on the lips. He doesn't even react. He's just stone-faced. And then he just walks out like the pimp that he is, leave him wanting more.
I'll have you know, everything I read about their reaction on the set. Movie's over, by the way. We do the closeout.
We get the closeout where he's like, but we had the same closeout for the first movie where he's on the throne and they go, and then Conan got his kingdom. Thank you, Griff. And he got a lot of shit and he never had to shit a diamond ever again. But that's another story. Setting up the sequel that never came because this movie sucks and it killed everything.
And Arnold was like, no, I'm not going to be a part of that. But no, I will have you know, in the wake of Epstein and all that shit, Arnold
from Welcome Back, Kotter Epstein.
But I don't know about that.
Juan Epstein. He always had a note from his mom that said signed. It was like, I'm gonna take everybody back for a minute.
Oh my God.
Juan Epstein, the character, would always be like late or he'd skip school and he'd have a note from his mom, but it was always signed Epstein's mom because get it, he was doing it. See, that's how great a character Epstein was. Sorry for.
They weren't into the pedophilia. Apparently, Arnold was very cool about this 15-year-old girl being on the set. Apparently, everybody was really cool with being, and they were all mentoring her. Arnold supposedly taught her, like she spoke about this, like taught her how to defend herself and shit.
Taught her how to give herself a breast exam for lumps.
No, we didn't.
Oh, that was Seagal.
That was Seagal. Yeah. So apparently not everybody is Seagal. Some people can realize.
I don't know. I have a feeling there's some Me Too stories in Schwarzenegger's past. I don't know.
I agree. There probably is.
Matter, but 20,000 women, they can't all have said yes.
Murray, we got a really important fact that you need to look up right now.
What's that?
Well, next week's episode. We don't know what it is.
Oh, yes. Next week, we're finally going to do it, guys. The fan appreciation episode. I want to thank everybody for voting. It was surprising. It wasn't. It first started out like it was going to be a runaway, but it got close for a while. But the movie that won is. I'm going to check it right now, so do something for me.
What am I going to do? Well, you see, Murray's wrong. You see, the second Conan movie is actually better than the first Conan movie because they replaced all that mucky violence. There was so much blood and head chopping everywhere. I couldn't follow it. There's barely any story. There's porridge. There's poor people.
Okay, that's enough of that bullshit. The winner of the first Golan-Globus Theater fan appreciation episode where you, the people, decide what movie we cover is King of the Kickboxers.
Ooh.
With 37% of the votes.
That's barely a margin. Man, that's awesome.
So
glad there's a contest here.
So yeah, we're looking forward to King of the Kickboxers, Billy Blanks.
Full disclosure, watched it, loved it. I'm very excited. Thank you so much. Do you know who gave that original suggestion?
No, I want to say it's our dude from Australia.
You need to double check into it because we need a thing.
You need to give us your name first of all. I'm tired of saying guy from Australia. I think we know you long enough. You can tell us your. You can DM the name.
Yeah, if you're comfortable with that. But no, that I'm very thrilled. I watched it the other day. It was wonderful. It was a mashup of everything we would enjoy. So
isn't it just basically a retelling of the movie Kickboxer?
No, but they borrowed a lot from it.
Okay. Well, Kickboxer's great, so I'm looking forward to it.
I would say there's better choreography in this movie than there is in Kickboxer.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is it a lot of tippy-tap shit, or is it all power?
Oh, my God, there's so much power.
Good. I'm liking it. I'm liking it about as much as I'm hating this weather. But still, Griff, I got one more question for you.
What
is best in life? I'll tell you. Keeping it warm.